Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. He'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. He'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We
It's
have
time
arrived.
to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We
It's
have
time
arrived.
to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand
First
the
Contact
truth.
Radio. We have arrived. First Contact Radio. Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Hope you are well. Today is the 5th of August. You know what? It is the time to demand the truth, and that's what the planets and the stars show us today. Because we have a moon sign in Sagittarius just took place, 5:19 a.m. Pacific time. Sagittarius is the truth bringer, truth seeker, shoots the arrow of truth. So today is about truth. Truth is underlying what is going on. On the outside, the conscious mind, we have the sun sign of a Leo. Leo is all about fire. So we have fire on the outside, and underneath we have fire as well. Sagittarius, double fire, lots of ideas, lots of creativity. One is the fire of righteousness, Leo. The other is the fire of truth, Sagittarius. Could be quite a day as we put truth together with righteousness. Truth together with righteousness. Perhaps a day to stand up against some of the injustices that are in the world, some of the challenges. We need to rise above. We have a trine going on later between this sign right here, which is Saturn. Saturn's like the H. So we have Saturn, discipline, is in a trine with Chiron, the wounded healer. So the wounded healer, the one who actually, if you think of the wounded healer, Hephaestus was the wounded healer in astrology. Wasn't necessarily the most physically appealing character. Wasn't necessarily the one who had all the best qualities, but when it boiled down to it, there was a heart and a character inside Hephaestus that, brought that idea to life, which shows that no matter who we are and what we're about inside each one of us, despite how wounded we may be, inside is a healer that knows how to heal us and knows how to rise above the problems that we have. So when we allow ourselves to accept the healing, to rise above our circumstances, whatever they may be, we find healing that is necessary, okay? So discipline and this healing, bringing this forth, is in a trine. So we have nice, good way in which to express oneself, express those ideas, to see how to bring that part of oneself up. Not feeling like a victim, but to use it to one's strength. Then later, about 2 hours after that, we have another trine. This time it is between the moon sign Sagittarius and this sign here for Jupiter, which is like the number 4. So truth and Jupiter, Sagittarius, well, they go together because Sagittarius and Jupiter are part of the same grouping. Sagittarius is ruled over by the planet of Jupiter. Jupiter expands things, okay? So we have an expansion of truth. An expansion of truth is what is taking place. Let's see what we do with it. If we can handle the truth. It's all about, can we handle the truth? Because if we can't, then we should just walk away. But if we can handle the truth, then take as much as you can handle and handle it. Handle your business. All right, then we have 5:19 p.m. We have a square, a lesson between Neptune right here. Looks like the trident of Poseidon. Another name is Neptune. So here we have the trident. This tells us We need to take a new perspective on things. Neptune is related to the tarot card of the Hanged Man, which is suspending the mind in order to look at things from another perspective. So truth is going to run up against a new perspective. So perhaps in order to look at the truth, we need to look at things differently. And that kind of ties in with something very important. Because see, in order to look at the truth, we have to look at the lie oftentimes. And when we look at the lie, we have to use our critical thinking to either believe exactly what we're told, which is a lie, or to use our critical thinking to determine what is the truth. A lot of times we're afraid to look past things. This is where the whole idea and the division comes between those who are the supposed conspiracy theorists versus those who are the skeptics. Okay? Those who are digging in deep at a subject, they're looking past that blockage to see what's really there. They're looking at things from a new perspective. But people that are skeptics, they don't want to look at it from a new perspective. Most of the time, you'll find that people that are skeptical are really afraid of many things in life, which is why they're so skeptical. And they kind of tie in hand. Because if you look behind something, if you look to see what's behind the curtain, guess what? You are now responsibility for what's going on, what you've learned, what you understood. So in the same way, we've got a situation. We have false flags that have occurred throughout our history, things we don't want to look at. But when we look at them from a new perspective, when we look at see what's going on, we realize that we've been lied to for a long time, and only truth will set us free. See, all of this ties in together. There's a psychology that's going on with the people. And if we're not going to be able to look at this clearly and understand, then we're just going to get played. People are getting played anyway. I hate seeing people getting played. So the only thing I could do is provide what I believe is to be a solution so you don't get played. Pay attention. Pay attention to what's going on out there in the world. There's billions of people. Is everybody going to get caught in the same trap? No. The trap's not big enough for everybody. But it's going to catch a lot of people. Those who are paying attention will rise above the situation. That's what we talk about all the time on this show. Rising above the situation because you realize that there's something more out there energetically. So you raise your energy up higher. That's the whole purpose of all this. Looking at things from a new perspective. Very important. If we're going to get to the truth of the situation, we have to stop bickering over the little things. We have to look at things from a new perspective. We have to understand that things expand. Truth expands. We have to go with the expansion. We have to allow that healer inside of us to come forth and stop being a victim. Okay? That's what it's all about. We need to stop being a victim. There's too many victims in this world. Blacks, whites, reds, yellows. Everyone's a victim, a victim, a victim. My ancestors were victimized. Well, guess what? That was in the past. It's all over now. Here we are, 2014. Let's stop being victims, all of us. Let's claim responsibility for the fact that we're here. And it really sucks that our ancestors went through all the problems and were victimized the way that they were. That the way that they were treated, the way that there was racism and problems and slavery and all the other garbage that went on. It really sucks. But let's leave that in the past. Let's stop being victims about all of that. And let's change the way we do things. And the only way we're going to change is if we get to the truth. And the truth is inside each one of us. And when we are righteous, when we use our energy rightly, we find that truth shows itself very plain and clearly to us. Because it's not really that difficult to find. Now, see our sun sign right here, Leo. Going across between mercy and severity. So today we see we have the mercy coming in. Expansion. Jupiter. And we've got to balance that out with our severity. Sometimes when things get expanded, we get scared and we don't want to have that expansion because we're afraid. We get caught up in the severity of things. So we have to learn not to be so serious. To be lightened up in planet Earth. A little bit lighter about what we're doing. Moon sign today, Sagittarius right here. Sagittarius is the angel of temperance. This path right here as you could see, is the tower. False truths. False truths occur between our emotions and our intellect. But the higher self comes in and is able to stand and balance out those false truths by bringing truthfulness to the situation. And therefore we see that it's either our emotions or our intellect that got us out of balance. And when we bring them back in balance, we find out the reality of the situation. So we're going to look further at temperance for today. Actually, before we jump into that, let me show you our numerology. Numerology for today is number 2. 8 plus a 5 plus a 7 adds up to 20. 2 plus 0 is 2. So today the numerology for today is a 2, which is the high priestess, which is the inner temple. So today is about going in to the inner temple on one hand. It's about seeking truthfulness for our unconscious mind. So what the planets and the stars are showing us, what the moon sign. And the sun sign is showing us that we need to be righteous. We need to allow the light within us to shine rightly. And it shines rightly when it shines through our hearts. So those are some big things that we have to deal with today. Big issues. But we can do it. It's very important. Very important. So here we go. This is the temperance. Sagittarius. Key 14. Archangel Michael. Fire. To this key is attributed the intelligence of probation or trial. One thing you'll notice about the cards and all of these major arcana is they have a title to them. So if you can remember that title, if you apply that, you'll find that it makes sense. So here, intelligence of probation or trial. Okay? This refers to the testing through which every aspirant, those who aspire to walk the path, which is all of us, or anyone who chooses to walk the path, every aspirant must pass before these testing phases, before they can reach the heights of initiation. So to be initiated into the secrets, one must aspire to be able to reach the heights. So we go through a testing phase. We must aspire to want to pass that, and by passing that, we become initiated. We learn the secrets, the beginning secrets. Okay? Its object is to determine his temper or strength. Thus, to see that temperance refers to the act of tempering, or the making of a properly balanced mixture. It has a distinct reference to equilibrium, for the initiate must be perfectly balanced with reference to all of its vehicles. He no longer goes to extremes, but has mastery of the pairs of opposites, because he invariably chooses the middle path between two extreme courses of action. The rainbow represents the differentiation of light into color by means of water. The angel is androgynous and represents the higher self. He wears the symbol of solar energy upon his brow. The 7-pointed star on the breast represents the works of man, because the 7-sided figure cannot be drawn geometrically, but requires the aid of measuring tools. The fire from the torch falls upon an eagle, symbol of water, and the water from the vase falls upon the lion, symbol of fire. Thus we see a representation of the union of opposite forces in all opposite directions. The twin mountain peaks are wisdom and understanding, and the crown above them represents the primal will. Okay. Hebrew letter Samek means prop. Temperance, Sagittarius, fiery element. Okay. And again, Sagittarius, temperance right here. Very important position. 1 foot on the foundation, head up in the heart, balancing out emotions and our intellect. Current moon phase 67% of the way full, making its way up to a full moon where it will be this weekend. Today is the 5th. This is what we're going to see when we look at the sky tonight. Look at the moon. Just below the moon, we're looking south on Terrace. And if we look way down south, left and south of Antares, we're going to see Scorpius. Look below the moon this evening for the supergiant Antares, as shown right around Antares. and to its right are other stars of Upper Scorpius. The Mayan Oracle, we're on the wave spell of timelessness. Today we're at the position of the storm, the rhythmic storm. So we have the storm guided by the storm. The rhythmic tone is equality. So we're equalizing out our energy fields, balancing again. We saw temperance, which was all about equalizing and balancing. Here we have an equalizing and balancing. So we have a synchronicity that is occurring between these systems. Like-minded energy today is the sun, which is all about our self-generation of the life force within us. Our challenge for today is our purification, and the hidden power is the wind, the inspiration. The phrase for today is I organize in order to catalyze balancing energy. I seal the matrix of self-generation with the rhythmic tone of equality. I am guided by my own power doubled. Space weather, solar wind, 441.3 kilometers per second. Planetary K-index is quiet, between a 2 and a 3. Coronal holes, we still have these ones up here. Opening up, moving across, facing Earth. No notice of when we're going to hit by that, but I venture to say we shall see a notice soon enough. M-class flare possibility, just like yesterday's at 40. X-class at 5. Geomagnetic storm activity is down pretty low as well, lower than what it was yesterday. 20% in the high latitudes, 10% in the mid latitudes. And on the Jewish calendar, today would be the 9th of Av, month of Av, so 9 days into the new month, Av. All right, and what does this mean? Well, here is the history. It says on the 9th of Av, at the year 2449, from creation, the generation of the Jews who came out of Egypt under Moses' leadership 16 months earlier were condemned to die in the desert, and the entry into the land of Israel was delayed for 40 years. As related to number 14, and related in Numbers 14, and again, synchronicity. Number 14 is the tarot card of temperance, which is Sagittarius. When the spies that Moses sent into the land of Canaan returned with the disheartening report, the people wept all night, the night of 9 Av, claiming that they'd rather return to Egypt and attempt to conquer and settle. God decreed the entire generation would wander the desert for 40 years until the last of them died out, and that their children, under the leadership of Joshua, will enter the land he promised as Israel's heritage. This is the first of the 5 national tragedies that occurred on 9 Av listed by the Talmud. Okay, and we also have the destruction of the temple, which is something that is occurred as well. But let's go down here and let's look at daily thoughts. Harsh words, demands, and ultimatums. These shake the very foundation of a marriage and a home, tearing its walls apart until each one stands alone. Gentle words, understanding words, listening words. This is the trunk from which a marriage grows, the foundation upon which a home stands. A home cannot be repaired unless its foundation is firm. Once a couple learns to speak as friends, then the marriage can endure everything forever. Okay, there you have it. That's our cosmic weather. That gets us going for today. I'll be right back. UFO News is up next.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
Alrighty, Dirk. Thank you very much for that introduction. First story takes us up to Mars. Okay, this doesn't look like it's normal, right? Pyramid structure. It's a triangle animal on Mars. No rock could climb and brush off the dust. Ancient arrow. These are all images and things Scott C. Waring pulled up. You notice that, and as you've looked through his site, you see that quite regularly he shows you these anomalies. The square and the rock. I mean, these aren't things that are naturally found when we see these angles and so on. So I was watching Brian Hopkins, the Martian archaeologist's latest video on the top five Mars anomalies, and I'd never seen this one before. Had a great graphic that went along with it. So I downloaded this photo, and it just looked like the moment had been destroyed and sent flying into little pieces. The way these blocks look to be cut and polished is remarkable. The blocks all seem to be shaped and cut perfectly off flat. The video went a bit long, but I hope you enjoy it and you download the photo today. Okay. 33-minute, 31-second video. It goes over all the same things that I've just showed you in the pictures here. It's interesting. Let's back up here for a moment. This almost looked like a skeleton, maybe. Interesting. All right, so links available. 33-minute piece for you to check it out, see what you think. Here we have a story about the TR-3B over Adelaide, Australia. TR-3B military plane. This interesting footage of a triangular-shaped UFO, possible TR-3B, was recorded in the sky above Adelaide, the capital city of South Australia and the fifth largest city in Australia. This was filmed on Saturday. Check it out. Let me know what you think. If you have any thoughts or ideas on the matter. Moving next, okay, we've seen these crop circles here before, but this talks about people going to see them, tourists. AOL News recently reported about the appearance of crop circle at the Bavarian farmer's field, which has become the latest tourist attraction in Germany. However, the mysterious formation of crops is not only limited to Germany, as the same crop circle has appeared in the UK. There are videos online showing crop circles in England. In Germany, a man in a hot air balloon spotted first the well-designed crop circle. He spared his sightings and his tourists and started to show up at the field to take a look at the amazing work of the unknown. The owner, farmer Christoph Hunter, told news media that he did not make the circle himself. However, he dismissed the idea that the circle was paranormal in nature or it was made by extraterrestrials. He said it was likely designed by students in summer vacation. His field's crop measured 75 feet in diameter. Okay, so more to the article. Check it out, see what you think. Do you think students just made this? Yeah. Okay. Sometimes the only thought that comes to mind is stupid is as stupid does. I mean, you look at the world and you realize there's so many people, there's bound to be some who are at the lower intelligence level, right? Who aren't going to get it. And we seem to hear a lot of those every day. And why are those the ones who are talked about and put in the news and put in front of everything? The skeptics, the non-believers, those who can't think past their own noses. Why? Because that's how you are encouraged to think. They don't want you to think. So they make sure that you continually see examples of those out there who aren't thinking, so you can be just like them. Because isn't that the idea? We all copy each other. We've learned from a young age that that's what we do. We imitate what someone else does. So if we imitate and we see others who are out there not using their brains, perhaps that's the way we should act. Silly, silly, silly. Speculations about a UFO light seen over Toronto. We have lights right there. Speculation has flooded onto social media after mysterious flashing lights were noticed on Saturday over North Toronto. The video of a strange event was posted on YouTube by Sarah Chun on Saturday. Chun described it as a very bright, glowing orbital object. Theories of this identity of the lights range from Chinese lanterns to drones, and from the kite with lights to UFOs. Alejandro, a resident of New York, said that he saw some children in a park preparing to fly a kite attached with a light on Saturday evening. A couple hours later, he claimed that he saw the line of lights in which he believed from the kites of the kids he saw earlier. Okay, here we go. Simple explanation. You don't have to think. It's just the kites. Here's a movie for you to watch. The movie is 51 minutes in length. This movie talks about the Anunnaki right here, Nibiru. And this is a researcher, Gerald Clark. I'm going to have to bring up some info on him one day and talk about Gerald's findings, because a lot of great information all about the Anunnaki. So check it out. There's your video viewing for today. Here we have how summer UFO videographers blew the whistle on the culture of denial. A new video published on YouTube on July 31st, 2014, further substantiates the case for a UFO corridor in Vancouver's Mount Pleasant neighborhood by revealing luminous discharges from the flight of a tumbling opaque body during the early evening hours. A second video published on August 1st demonstrates what many have suspected all along, that golden orbs over English Bay are executing dramatic turns while crossing midnight skies. At least one inevitable conclusion drawn from such freely available instrumental findings points to the existence of derelict, publicly funded federal institutions steeped in cult-like legacies of ritual abuse, denial, and secrecy. While there exists a possibility that UFOs become visible only by special appearance upon the request of summons from the designated contactees, the evidence provided by the summer's local part-time videographers suggests a different scenario. Their perspective celebrates the possibility of detectable lights, which may occur in similar ways to visible movements of wildlife, such as those exhibited by anciently established local populations to bald eagles, great blue herons, falcons, owls, etc. Okay, so there you go. More people are catching these things. And last, over to the Vatican. What does the Pope have to say? Well, let's see if he's going to say something silly about how we shouldn't. It's dangerous to have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. Let's see if he said something smart this time. Okay? Look, I am not afraid of the Pope, and I am not afraid to stand up and tell you that this guy is full of malarkey when he starts talking nonsense about Jesus Christ. Okay? I ain't afraid of that. So, if he's saying something smart this time, great. But he said something stupid then. So, we got to stand up. We got to speak the truth, okay? I'm not one to mince words about truthfulness because I dislike lies. Pope Francis is reportedly preparing a major world statement about extraterrestrial life and its theological implications. Rosanna Ubanel from Voxy News today reported that due to advances in scientific detection methods for the discovery of extraterrestrial life, Pope Francis wants to be ready with a statement about first contact. Oh, he's going to talk about the radio show. Awesome. Ubanel reports that details have yet to be officially announced, but that the Vatican's interest in extraterrestrial life is well documented. Though recent astrobiology conferences at the Vatican Observatory has sponsored or participated in. Father Guy Magno, a Jesuit astronomer and one of the leading Catholic proponents for preparing for the scientific discovery of extraterrestrial life, on July 18th won the Carl Sagan Science Medal from the American Astronomical Society. Pope Francis, a fellow Jesuit, regularly consults with Consul Magno and other leading Vatican astronomers about scientific issues. It is likely that Pope Francis is preparing for the Urbi et Orbi speech, Latin for to the city of Rome and the world, about first contact with extraterrestrial life. Well, we shall see what the Pope is going to do. He's been quite an interesting Pope since he's been in. He's said things that have certainly been controversial. He's done things that have been controversial. Well, we'll find out. Time will tell. Life is unfolding. And I see it as a one big play that's unfolding. We've got the scripts out there. We've got the books of prophecy. They let us know the direction we're going. And we just sit back and we watch. That seems to be what's going on. All right, there you have it. That's UFO news. I shall be right back. Stay tuned. I won't be too far. Here we go.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
All right, let's move on. I got a bunch more to deal with here. What do I want? All right, here's a 21-year-old king's mausoleum discovered in China. 21-year-old mausoleum built for a king named Lu Fei has been discovered in modern-day Ixil country in Jingzhou, China, archaeologists report. Nephi died 128 BC during the 26th year of his rule over the kingdom named Yingdu, which was part of the Chinese Empire. Although the mausoleum had been plundered, archaeologists found that it still contained more than 10,000 artifacts, including treasures made of gold, silver, bronze, jade, and lacquer. They also found several life-size chariots and dozens of smaller chariots. Excavated between 2009 and 2011, the mausoleum contains 3 main tombs, 11 attendant tombs, 2 chariot and horse pits, 2 weaponry pits, and remains of the enclosure wall that originally encompassed the complex. A team of Nanjing Museum archaeologists said in a recent article published in the Journal of Chinese Archaeology. The wall was originally about 1,608 feet long on each side. Archaeologists said their work was a rescue excavation as the site was threatened by quarrying. Long article, but it gets in detail about what was there. All right, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay, so moving from there, where to go now? Where to go now? Well, I'm going to jump back over to the Book of Enoch. The Book of Enoch. The Book of Enoch is an important book. It's the story of Enoch. We know about Enoch from the Bible. We understand that Enoch was, and then he walked with God. Well, when Enoch walked with God, he was shown the workings of the kingdom. There's actually a whole book, the Book of Enoch, that was put out, part of what's called the Apocrypha. These books that didn't make it into the Bible, but nonetheless are filled with important information. This book, the Book of Enoch, is also called the Forbidden Book of Angels, happens to be one of the books that almost made it into the Bible. It was between this book and the Book of Revelation on which would go in. This didn't quite make it. Well, definitely didn't make it. At the beginning of this book, one thing you notice is it says right in the beginning is that when they return, the wicked and the godless are going to be removed. And it says it in no uncertain terms. Well, therein lies the whole crux of this situation. This is why this book is not in here. This is why it's not referred to and talked about. Because we have a situation on this planet where you have the criminals, those who should be in jail, those who are the wicked and the godless ones, happen to be those who are running the various countries. The political leaders, the government leaders, bankers, those who are in charge happen to be the criminals. They're the ones who are the wicked and the godless who are going to be removed. And in many cases, they are also the ones who are telling you to be afraid of the extraterrestrials because they are going to shoot you. They're not going to shoot you. You're not one of the wicked and the godless ones. That's who they are coming for. And every day they become more wicked and they become more godless. And they tell more lies. And all they're doing is trying to protect their own butts. So we're going to jump on to the next chapter here, which is chapter 23. Chapter 23, we're just going to pick up from here. Here we go. Chapter 23. From thence I went to another place to the west of the ends of the earth, and I saw a burning fire which ran without resting, and paused not from its course day or night, but ran regularly. And I asked, saying, What is that which rests not? Then Ragu, one of the holy angels who was with me, answered me, and said unto me, This course of fire which thou hast seen is the fire in the west, which persecutes all luminaries of heaven. And from thence I went to another place of the earth, and he showed me the mountain range of fire which burnt day and night. And I went beyond it, and I saw 7 magnificent mountains, all differing each from the other. And the stones thereof were magnificent and beautiful, magnificent as a whole, of glorious appearance and fair exterior, 3 towards the east, 1 founded on the other, and 3 towards the south, one upon the other, in deep, rough ravines, no one of which joined with any other. And there remained, and the 7th mountain was in the midst of these, and it excelled them in height, resembling the seat of a throne, and a fragment trees encircled the throne. And amongst them was a tree, such as I had never yet smelt, neither was anything amongst them, nor were others like it. It had a fragrance beyond all fragrance, and its leaves and blooms and wood wither not forever, and its fruit is beautiful, and its fruit resembles the dates of a palm. Then I said, How beautiful is this tree, and fragrant, and its leaves are fair, and it blooms, very delightful in appearance. Then answered Michael, one of the holy and honored angels who was with me, and was their leader. And he said unto me, Enoch, why dost thou ask me regarding the fragrance of the tree? And why dost thou wish to learn the truth? Then I answered him, saying, I wish to know about everything, but especially about the tree. And he answered, saying, The high mountain, which thou hast seen, whose summit is like the throne of God, is his throne, where the holy great one, the Lord God, the eternal King, will sit when he shall come down to visit the earth with goodness. And as for this fragrant tree, no mortal is permitted to touch it to the great judgment, when he shall take vengeance on all and bring everything to its consummation forever. It shall be given to the righteous and the holy. Its fruit shall be for food to the elect. It shall be transplanted in the holy place to the temple of the Lord, the eternal King. Then they shall rejoice with joy and be glad. And into the holy place they shall enter, and its fragrance shall be in the bones. And they shall live a long life on earth, such as the fathers lived. And their days no sorrow or plague or torment or calamity will touch them. Then blessed I, the glory, God of glory, the eternal King, who hath prepared such things for righteousness, and hath created them and promised to give them. And I went from thence into the middle of the earth, and I saw a blessed place in which there were trees, with branches abiding and blooming of a dismembered tree. And there I saw a holy mountain, and underneath the mountain to the east there was a stream, and it flowed towards the south. And I saw towards the east another mountain higher than this, and between them a deep and narrow ravine. In it also ran a stream underneath the mountain, and the west thereof was another mountain, lower than the former, and of the small elevation, and a ravine, deep and dry. Between them another deep and dry ravine was in the extremities of the 3 mountains, and all the ravines were deep and narrow, being formed of hard rock, and trees were not planted upon them. And I marveled at the rocks, and I marveled at the ravine, yea, I marveled very much. Then I said, For what object is this blessed land, which I entirely filled with trees, and this accursed valley between? Then Uriel, one of the holy angels who was with me, answered and said, This accursed valley is for those who are accursed forever. Here shall all the accursed be gathered together, who utter with their lips against the Lord unseemly words, and of his glory speak hard things. Here shall they be gathered together, and here shall they be their place of judgment. In the last days there shall be upon them the spectacle of righteous judgment in the presence of the righteous forever. Here shall the merciful bless the Lord of glory, the eternal King. In the days of judgment over the former they shall bless him, and for their mercy in accordance with which he has assigned them their lot. And I blessed the Lord of glory, and set forth his glory, and lauded him gloriously. And thence I went towards the east into the midst of the mountain range of the desert, and I saw a wilderness, and it was a solitary, full of trees and plants, and water gushed forth from above, rushing like a copious watercourse which flowed towards the northwest. It caused clouds and dew to ascend on every side. And thence I went to another place in the desert, and I approached the east of the mountain range, and there I saw aromatic trees exhaling the fragrance of the frankincense and the myrrh, and the trees were also similar to the almond tree. And beyond these I went afar to the east, and I saw another place, a valley full of water, and therein was a tree, the color of fragrant trees such as damastic. And on the sides of those valleys I saw fragrant cinnamon, and beyond these I proceeded to the east. And I saw the other mountains, and amongst them were groves of trees, and there flowed forth from them nectar, which is named Sahara and Galabrum. And beyond these mountains I saw another mountain to the east, to the ends of the earth, wherein were a lot of trees, and the trees were full of stoctre, being like almond trees, and when one burnt it, it smelt sweeter than any fragrant odor. And after these fragrant odors I looked towards the earth over the mountain, and I saw 7 mountains full of choice nard and fragrant trees and cinnamon and pepper. And thence I went over to the summits of all of these mountains, far towards the east of the earth, and passed over the Etherean sea, and went far from it, and passed over the angel Zothiel. And I came to the garden of righteousness, and saw beyond these trees many large trees growing there, and of goodly fragrance, large, very beautiful and glorious, and the tree of wisdom whereof they eat, and know great wisdom. The tree is in the height like a fir, and its leaves are like those of the carob tree, and its fruits is like the clusters of the vine, very beautiful, and the fragrance of the tree penetrates afar. Then I said, how beautiful is the tree, and how attractive is its look. Then Raphael, the holy angel who was with me, answered and said, this is the tree of wisdom, of which thy father, old in years, and thy aged mother, who were before thee, have eaten. And they learnt wisdom, and their eyes are opened, and they knew that they were naked, and that they were driven out of the garden. And from thence I went to the ends of the earth, and I saw a great beast, and each different from the other. And I saw birds, and also differing in appearance, and the beauty and the voice, and the one differing from the other. And to the east of those beasts I saw the ends of the earth, where the heaven rests, and the portals of the heaven opened. And I saw how the stars of heaven came forth, and counted the portals out of which they proceed, and wrote down all of their outlets, and each individual star by itself according to their number and their names, and courses of their positions, and the times and their months, as Oriel, the holy angel who was with me, showed me. He showed me all things to me, and he wrote them down for me. Also their names he wrote for me, and their laws, and their companies. And from thence I went towards the earth, north to the ends of the earth, and I saw a great and glorious device at the end of the whole earth. And here I saw 3 portals of heaven open, and the heaven, and each one of them proceeded north winds. They blow there as cold, hail, frost, snow, dew, and rain. And out of the portal they blow for good. But when they blow through to the other portals, it is with violence and affliction on the earth, and they blow with violence. And from thence I went towards the east to the ends of the earth, and I saw 3 portals of heaven open, such as I had seen in the east, the same number of portals, and the same number of outlets. And from thence I went to the south to the ends of the earth, and there 3 portals of heaven, and thence 3 came dew, rain, wind. And from thence I went to the east to the ends of the heaven, and there saw 3 eastern portals of heaven open, and small portals above them. Through each of these small portals pass the stars of heaven, and run their course to the west, on the path which is shown them. And as often as I had blessed always the glory of God, and I continue to bless the Lord of glory, who has wrought great and glorious wonders, to show the greatness of his work to his angels, and to his spirits, and to his men, that they might praise his work in all his creation, that they might see the work of his might, and praise the great work of his hands, and bless him forever. Okay, we're going to stop right there, because now we get into this next section, the parables. So we could see we've gone all the way through here, right? We took the book of Enoch, we took his journey to East and Sheol, and now we're going to start on the parables next time. All right? So this is the book of Enoch. So very interesting indeed. Very interesting what Enoch was shown. Very interesting the experience and the message of the wicked and the ungodly, or the godless, being removed. And remember, at the very beginning of this book, let's go back to the very first chapter. The words of the blessing Enoch were with he blessed the elect and the righteous who be living in the day of tribulation. Okay, this is the time that we're in right now, the day of tribulation, or so we believe. And during this time of tribulation, it says all the wicked and the godless are to be removed. All the wicked and the godless are to be removed. Well, we know we have a lot of wicked. We know we had a lot of godless. We have a lot that need to be removed. And so therein lies the battle. So you have those down here on earth who are the wicked and the godless, who are trying to pretend that they are all wonderful beings, and trying to convince you to join them in their efforts. But if they are the wicked and the godless, and they're going to be removed, are you so certain you want to follow them? Want to follow their example? Doesn't seem very smart, because if they're going to be removed because they are wicked and godless, and then you were to follow their example of being wicked and godless, well, then you just added your name to the list to be removed. Just something to think about. Something to think about. Now, when we come to this earth, and one of the things that I think is very important that we consider is reincarnation. Because reincarnation is a reality. It's a reality of what goes on. We live lifetime after lifetime. We get caught in these cycles. We go through experiences learning something, and then we go into another lifetime to learn maybe the opposite. So in this day and age, here we are on a planet with billions of people, many of whom have already lived here before. So it is quite possible that we have switched races many, many times. That those who are white now have probably been black and Hispanic and Asian. That those who are black have probably been white and Asian and Hispanic and Native American. That those who are Hispanic have probably been white and black and Asian and Native American. On and on. We've all mixed. We've all been around. So we should have an opportunity to really look at any situation that's going on and find a way to move through it. We should be able to find a way to move through the issues of slavery and racism, because at one time or another, we have all been slaves, all of us. And at one time or another, we've all been free men, all of us. So within us, we know what it is like to be free, and we also know what it's like to be a slave. We should be able to fix this problem. The situation occurs when we have those who are stuck in this particular lifetime, who don't understand and don't want to consider the possibilities of what went on in other lifetimes. So you have all this racism that goes on in the world because people can't believe and understand that maybe that they are here to bring an opposite lesson. I mean, to me, that's how I see things. I mean, Spike Lee was probably a white slave owner during the days of plantation slavery. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. Oprah was probably a white slave owner as well. And here they are with an opportunity in this lifetime to change things, are still spouting the same racism, just from the other side of the fence, because they haven't learned the lessons that it doesn't matter what skin color you are. They still think that one skin color is better than the other. And I just point out those two because they're just two of the big examples that I'm aware of. And if you think it's racist that I said that, oh well, what am I going to do? I'm just pointing things out, We have eyes, we see things, we observe things, so we express the things that we observe in the world. Hopefully we can fix them. I told you at the beginning, this is a time of truthfulness. Well, there's some truth that needs to come out in the world that needs to be fixed. One of the big issues that really bugs me, gets under my skin, is racism. Because I see it and I think it's so nonsense. So nonsense that one race thinks that they are superior over another because of their skin color. How ridiculous is that? And then you read the stories about what's going on, and you see how the media continues to push the issues of racism. You've got individuals who are community leaders that continue to push this. Why? All for political agendas. You see situations where you have schools opening. You got this crazy situation going on up in Fresno, California, where you have a middle school. You have a teacher that was hired to teach cultural studies who's white, but the black people around the community are up in arms. How could a white person teach cultural studies? Well, we live in a world where we have an opportunity that everyone can teach. We can learn. And so for those black people out there that are doing it, just as racist as if it was a white person doing it. Because if it was cultural studies with a black teacher and white people went in and said, hey, how come there's a white person teaching this class or a black person teaching this? It would be the same thing. We have to stop fighting over our skin color. We have to understand that we can learn about life from each other. And if you're still stuck in one of those racist attitudes, if you can't get past the situation, then do us a favor. Go segregate yourself on some other island with all the other people that think like you, because there's a lot of people who don't think that way on this planet. Actually, I believe it's the majority probably don't think that way. It's a small minority. So go away, segregate yourselves, go live on another island somewhere, and then where all the races can be over somewhere else. And the people who want to live without this nonsense can live without it. And we'll find that most of the media is gone. We'll find that there's a lot of celebrities that are gone. We'll find that there's a lot of athletes that are gone. All walks of life, we'll find that there's a bunch of people gone. We'll be much better off for it because we don't need racist attitudes from anybody. And racism can occur whether you're black or white or yellow or red or brown. Doesn't matter. Everyone has an opportunity to be racist. Thing is, don't. Know better. We know better. So this reincarnation thing, let me get back to that. Because we've learned, we've all gone through this experience, we should learn. Here's an article that talks about how we could step out of the reincarnation cycle. This is Greg Prescott over at In5D. So we've all heard about the tunnel of light that our soul follows upon leaving the physical body. But what is the true meaning of the life review? Why does a life review always involve having us continuously looping back into the third dimensional reality? And what can we do to stop the cycle of reincarnation? Commonalities with the near-death experience. So just about every person who has a near-death experience will say that they didn't want to come back to Earth and that the other side of the veil felt like home. So if everyone feels discontent on the other side of the veil, then why do we keep coming back to this hellhole? As evidenced by thousands of near-death experiencers, there is a common theme that people experience upon leaving the physical body. We have the initial death, the tunnel of white light, the other side of the tunnel, meeting beings including angels, guides, friends, and family, a life review, getting sent back to Earth, and lessons learned from the other side. Tunnel of light is so appealing because it gives us an opportunity to meet with loved ones who have preceded us. The feeling of joy is described as being magnified much more than anything we can humanly experience in this third dimensional reality. In reality, the tunnel of light is a soul harvester that keeps recycling your soul along with energy of your physical body upon reincarnation. I've heard about the life review and about the guides. I'm going to jump to the end of the article here. And it says, let's see here. It said, if you decide to come back to help this planet, do not agree to come back to this third dimensional reality, systematic control through a soul contract. Come back on your own terms, which includes the remembrance of all previous lives and everything you have learned throughout your incarnations, as well as on the other side of the veil. You could come back into this fifth dimensional version of Earth, but only choose this if you are certain that it is a version that is not under the control of an archonic system. You could also choose to come back as a non-physical guide to the old third dimensional system to help others, just as our guides have done. Ultimately, your true peace will be found once you realize that you are source creator and you have the ability to create worlds and galaxies that are harmoniously filled with love outside of the system of control. Okay, and here we have a video down here for you to watch. Talks all about, says I stumbled across a video shows you how the truth, sometimes hidden in plain sight. On Star Trek Voyager Coda episode, please find time to watch it. Alright, the link is there. Check it out. Alright, so quick article here. Thought this was interesting. 5 reasons to juice cannabis. Heard about the different ways that cannabis can be used. Besides fruits and vegetables, it turns out cannabis can be added to your juicer as well. For those unfamiliar with the juicing phenomena, the process of making cannabis juice is surprisingly simple. All you really need to do is have a juicer or blender and some raw material. But what are the advantages of juicing raw cannabis? Well, here's top 5. 1. Avoid the high. While the downside of getting high is often debated, the fact is that some people prefer their cannabis without the psychoactive effects. This is where juicing comes in handy. Since the heat is required to convert the THCA in raw cannabis to THC, its psychoactive form, juicing provides a way of obtaining many of the benefits without getting high. Ingest higher dosages. Along the same line, not getting high makes it easier to take higher doses of cannabis and therefore more of its medical components. So it's very versatile. Can be mixed with a variety of other healthy ingredients to make good juices. You're avoiding smoking it. Although cannabis smoke has not been linked to cancer, it can irritate the airways and prevents diseases. While cannabis often sees a treatment for chronic diseases, incorporating cannabis into your diet can be a great way to maintain health and prevent disease. So there's some interesting ways maybe you didn't realize existed. I certainly didn't know that you could do that, but it's awesome that we are exploring different alternative therapies here upon this planet. And again, there is a system of control in place so that there are those who are trying to stop you. They don't want you to have the things that are going to benefit you in life, the healthy things. They just want to scare you. All the wars and the rumors and wars and diseases and all the other problems. Just depends where you want to put your consciousness. You can put it into all of their fear and listen to them, or you could just not be afraid. And I just say, just don't be afraid. Just don't be afraid. That's it. Think about God. Think about the strength of God. Don't be afraid. There's nothing to be afraid of. No matter what's going on down here, there's nothing to be afraid of at all. You're a child of God. You're imbued with strength and fortitude unlike anything that you have ever experienced. And all you have to do is allow that to shine bright. And the only reason anyone is afraid is because they buy into all of the nonsense, because they stop believing in their own power, because they're taught to look outside of themselves. Look inside yourself. You'll see a great strength. I know many of you already are. But I know that many of you are having challenges with friends and family who aren't, and probably giving you lots of grief for that. So don't lose heart. Just keep encouraging them. Because one day the light will go on for them, and they'll realize all the things you've been telling them. And at that point, it will make their job a bit easier to make the next step for them. So maybe a little bit challenging, but just keep encouraging family and friends to be fearless as well, just like you are. All right? All right. Today's message from Lady Nada. Here we go.
Message from Lady Nada, developing your divine exalted state of being.
Channeled by Fran Zepeda, August 3, 2014.
Lady Nada.
Dear beloveds, I come before you today to discuss your exaltedness, the state of being that you are all entering, each in your own way. Indeed, it is in stages, but powerful nonetheless. Your exaltedness is your depth of being within your very divine core, explored and expanded with your continued willingness and intent to discard the lower vibrations for the higher exalted ones. And dear ones, it is not always a tedious or difficult process as you may think sometimes. Sometimes simply with letting go and agreeing to lift your spirits, your vibration, without resistance, can bring you into higher realms instantly. The trick is to stay there, and you will get better and better at it, dear ones. By no means must you strive hard or have angst about it. It is a natural process as you clear and absorb more love energies. It is a gradual natural process, and, indeed, it can be quick and sudden in some ways, for there will be times you will feel that you have suddenly shifted into a new place where so much of what you were used to just falls away. And you can either be there, in the void, so to speak, albeit momentary, and allow yourself to rise into unknown territory, or you can bring yourself back down for the sake of comfort. But you will find, dear ones, that this new place, if you allow it to linger, albeit a little uncomfortable and unknown at first, can bring you into an exalted comfort, exciting yet peaceful at the same time, entering into a plethora of possibilities that your energy can take you, as if you are floating through room after room in a deep tunnel of awakening that leads you to a lightness and a stillness and yes, a peacefulness. Allow yourselves in your meditations to go and explore into these places, for they are available to you more and more as you are lifting the dross of yesteryear. What it may leave you with may feel unsubstantial, but only because it is unknown and untested and untried and unlived for the time being. But allow it to be there and surround you, and your lift into this new exalted feeling and place will feel more than worth the uncomfortable unknowingness of it. Letting go and surrendering to it is the hardest thing for humans to do, especially after living in 3D for so long. You have grown used to barriers and boundaries and labels and qualifiers and quantifying measures that have kept you safe and within your boxes of experiences, where you play and learn and perpetuate all your beliefs and rules you have gained as you have traveled on your journey in the third dimension. However, you are shaking this off, this older way of being, to make way for the newer exalted way of being in the higher realms, and although it is new, it is so doable, since you have a natural inclination and inherent ability to navigate the higher lighter realms, and so you are exploring them and living them, and feeling more and more enriched by them as you let yourself go and ponder and float amongst the higher energies. Sometimes you may pull yourself back, out of habit or due to fear, or desire of safety, but the more you allow yourself to float amongst the lighter higher energies in meditation, and then when not even in dedicated meditation, you will feel more and more comfortable in your increasing exalted state that you are sustaining with more skill and expertise the more you allow the energies to lift you. So my beloveds, I beseech you and invite you to explore fully your exaltedness, which is really your divine nature, your inner flame of divinity that is connected with Source. You will find more and more that you needn't ever sever the tie you have and are discovering there, that you will instead want to always and perpetually remain connected to Source within your divine center no matter what you are doing. You will find that it is such a natural state for you to remain in, as you remember your exaltedness, your sweet divine grace and serenity to which you are returning with more and more fluidity and steady ascension. If my words are feeling a little confusing, just allow them to float into you and you will soon find that this state I am attempting to convey, is your natural way of being, your chosen way of being, your divine birthright from which you have only made a detour in all the years in your state of duality. But that is dissolving now, this old way of being, and you are rightfully taking up the reins of your new existence, flowered with beautiful essence of your divine qualities, of peace, harmony, joy, grace and abundance, and yes, most of all love. Unconditional love that is now, as we speak, penetrating your whole being, as well as the globe and universe and multiverse with warp speed. Keep breathing this love in and out, and keep spreading it, this your love essence, and you are assured of a complete transformation not only of and in yourselves but of and in your whole world. This is not to say that your work is complete here, but it will become much more demonstrative of all your efforts to the extent that you allow your perception to pick it up. The longer you keep yourself in your exalted divine state of being, the more you will see and experience this new world you are creating. And that, my dear ones, is the $60 million question, to quote an old adage. Will you choose to remain in and develop your exalted divine state and continue to leave your old world behind? Only you know the answer to that question, dear ones, but I venture to say that the answer will be a strong, exalted yes. For most of you. I love you unconditionally, my dear ones, and respect and honor you for your bravery and your steadfastness in this sometimes rocky road along the ascension path. But you are equipped for it, you are designed for it, and you are destined for it, my dear beloved trailblazers into the fifth dimension and higher. I leave you for now to ponder my words and absorb my energy and the codes that are being divinely delivered to you as we speak. Go with peace and love, my dear ones. I spread my blanket of unconditional love over you all and ask you to do the same to all you think of, encounter, or feel in your path of ascending enlightenment. I treasure you, and I respect and honor and cherish your beautiful bright illuminated souls that are coming online more fully each moment. Namaste.
Alright, very nice message from Lady Nada. Thank you very much. That brings us to our meditation for today. Today's meditation, let's focus on themes that we have discussed today. Simple ones, very simple themes. Truth and fearlessness. Truth and fearlessness. Take a deep breath. Exhale. Take another deep breath. And exhale again. Another deep breath. And exhale. I want you to look at yourself in the mirror. And as you look in the mirror, you notice that there is this muck that is around you. And so you imagine a shower coming from above and washing over you and washing off all of this muck. And the muck represents an illusion. Remember, represents that which is keeping you from seeing the truth. And as this rain comes down and cleanses us, we become purified and we begin to see the truth. We see through the lies that are taking place. And no matter how big one tries to lie, once we have seen the truth, the lie means nothing. And we continue to walk the path of life. And as we are aware of the truth, we begin to see those who are afraid of the truth. We see every day people upon the planet afraid to stand in their own truth because there's someone who they think is going to smack them down. So we look around for all of those people and we see that those who are trying to keep the truth are the leaders, the politicians, the military, the security forces, the police forces, all of those who are in charge of working and supposed to look over for people. We see the corruption that has grabbed the hold of those agencies. And we see them trying to hide the truth. And so we look at them. We imagine them all before us, our leaders. And we see them hollering at us, barking at us their orders, trying to cause us to be fearful. And we just look at them and we send them love. And we watch them. These individuals, we watch them shrink down in size to being like little infants. And once we see them as little infants, all we see them as temper tantrums. And we realize that these individuals have never grown past the point of being a child, and they are just having temper tantrums. And so we send love to all of these children. We send love. And as we send love, we find out that the lies around them dissipate. And that they begin to share the truths with the world. And one by one, as we begin to share with each other the truths of who we are and what we're truly about, we find that we evolve as a planet quicker than we have been evolving. We find that as beings upon this planet, we're able to understand more of who we are as we understand truth and love and fearlessness. For we know there is nothing to be afraid of. So as we go throughout the world today, we're just going to send out love. And we're going to send out the idea of truthfulness to all those we see. And we're going to gather within ourselves fearlessness. And we're just going to project that as we go through the world today. So no matter what the situation arises, we remain steadfast and strong and fearless. Contemplate the words of this affirmation. I do not take things personally. I do not take things personally. So as we go through the world today and we experience what's going on, we realize that those who are trying to hinder you, lie to you, are all aiming at you in a personal way, hoping that you will personally take that information. By not taking it personally, we do not fall into that trap. So keep your eyes open today, my friends. Look at things through truthfulness. Keep your heart open and be righteous and fearless. And just send out love wherever you go today. That this love may transform all of those problems into solutions. So let's imagine ourselves just walking the path of life, sending out love, truth, fearlessness, And let our subconscious mind continue on that journey, encouraging our conscious mind to do the same thing as we walk through life. And let's bring ourselves back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale. Open your eyes. That's it, my friends. That is our show today. Thank you very much for being here. I know I kind of went over different places here and there today, but you know, some days I just get a little bit more riled up about things that I hear. I don't like lies. I don't think you like lies either. I don't like the mistreatments and the fear that's put into the world. I don't like all this control that's put in, especially when the control is being put in place by those who have no integrity. All I know is trust God and all things work out, and that we have a path before us, a path of righteousness, a path of truth and love. And if we keep walking that path, that's all that matters, and the rest will just fade away. That's our journey, my friends. So go out in the world today, keep loving each other. Send love into the world, send truthfulness, send light, send fearlessness. That's it. I'll do the same thing. I love you. Keep loving each other. I'll be back tomorrow. Have an awesome day. Peace. I'm out of here.